Let's talk about the exact moment you usually ruin your trading day. You've done your top-down analysis, you've marked your zones, you've waited patiently for 3 hours. Finally, price taps your exact entry level. Your setup is flawless. But instead of clicking buy, you freeze. You stare at the candle, a little voice in your head whispers, "But what if it drops? The news came out an hour ago. Maybe I should wait for one more confirmation. Let me check the 1-minute chart. Let me check what that one guy on Twitter is saying." You hesitate, and while you are paralyzed by indecision, the market violently explodes in your predicted direction. It hits your take profit in 10 minutes, and you are not in the trade. You sit there, staring at a massive green candle, feeling an entirely different kind of sickness. You didn't lose money, but you lost your mind. The regret is agonizing. So, to make up for it, you immediately jump into a terrible, low-probability setup at the top of the move, just to get involved. And that is the trade that hits your stop-loss. You missed the winner because you were scared, and you took the loser because you were desperate. If this cycle sounds like your daily life, you are missing the foundational pillar of trading psychology. Today, we're breaking down the single most powerful concept ever taught by Mark Douglas. We are going to expose the fortune teller trap, why your brain demands certainty before it acts, and the one belief that will permanently eradicate your hesitation and fear. Close the charts, get a pen, let's rewire your brain. Chapter 1. The Fortune Teller Trap. Why did you hesitate on that perfect setup? You hesitated because you thought it was your job to know what the market was going to do next. You were operating under the delusion that a good trader is essentially a financial fortune teller. You think that your analysis is good enough, it will act like a crystal ball and guarantee the outcome of the next 15 minutes. So, when that setup formed, your brain scanned the environment for a 100% guarantee, and because the market cannot give you a 100% guarantee, your brain interpreted that uncertainty as a threat. It hit the brakes. Let me save you thousands of hours of anxiety. It is not your job to predict the market. If you are trying to predict the market, you are playing a game that is mathematically impossible to win. There are millions of participants buying and selling at any given millisecond. Algorithms, central banks, hedge funds, and retail traders are all interacting in a chaotic web of liquidity. To accurately predict the outcome of your specific trade, you would have to know the exact intentions, bank balances, and emotional states of every single participant on the planet at that exact second. You can't do it. No one can. The harder you try to play the fortune teller, the more exhausted, stressed, and paralyzed you will become. You will spend all your time looking for the holy grail indicator that removes uncertainty, completely ignoring the fact that uncertainty is the very nature of the market. Chapter 2. The Macro Probability Shift. What aren't we predicting? We are playing a game of macro probabilities. And to play this game, you have to fundamentally change how you view a trading edge. Most retail traders think an edge is a secret code that guarantees a win. Mark Douglas defines an edge perfectly. An edge is nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing happening over another. That's it. It's just a slight tilt in the odds. Think about a standard coin flip. It's 50-50. Now, imagine I give you a weighted coin. It lands on heads 60% of the time and tails 40% of the time. If you flip that weighted coin exactly one time, do you know what it's going to land on? No, it could easily land on tails. But if you flip it 1,000 times, do you care about the outcome of flip number 14? Do you sweat? Do you hesitate before throwing the coin in the air? Of course not, because you know the math. You know that over a large sample size, the 60% probability is an absolute, unstoppable mathematical force. When you sit at your charts, your trading strategy is just that weighted coin. That's all it is. But right now, you are treating every single trade like it's a life or death event, because you are entirely focused on the micro outcome of this specific flip. You have to zoom out. You have to stop caring about the next trade and start caring about the next 100 trades. Chapter 3. Becoming the Algorithm, the IT Reality. To truly master this, I want you to look at how global, automated technology systems operate. Think about a massive, automated trading server running at a Wall Street hedge fund. That algorithm doesn't have a heartbeat. It doesn't have an ego. It doesn't care if it lost its last 3 trades. The algorithm is programmed with a simple if-then architecture. If price hits this level and volume is above this threshold, then execute a buy order with exactly 1% risk. When the criteria are met, the algorithm doesn't hesitate. It doesn't check Twitter. It doesn't wonder if the market is going to reverse. It just executes. Why? Because the system was built on the understanding that individual trade outcomes are completely random, but the system's architecture is profitable over time. You are a human being, which means you have emotions. But when you sit down at your trading desk, you must strive to become the algorithm. You are the IT systems administrator of your own capital. Your trading plan is the code. If you manually intervene, if you hesitate, if you widen your stop loss, if you force a trade that doesn't meet the criteria, you are manually corrupting your own system's code. You are introducing human error into a mathematical equation. The algorithm does not need to know what happens next. It only knows what it is programmed to do when the trigger is pulled. Be the algorithm. Chapter 4. The one belief that changes everything. We have arrived at the core. If you delete everything else I have said today, keep this. Mark Douglas states that to trade without fear, without hesitation, and without anger, you must install one absolute, unbreakable belief into your subconscious mind. You must truly, deeply believe this statement. I do not need to know what is going to happen next to make money. Say it out loud right now. I do not need to know what is going to happen next to make money. When you truly adopt this belief, everything changes. If you don't need to know what happens next, why would you ever hesitate on a valid setup? If you don't need to know what happens next, why would you ever be angry when a trade hits your stop loss? If you don't need to know what happens next, why would you ever risk 10% of your account on a single position? Fear and hesitation only exist when you believe you should know the outcome, but you don't. When you completely surrender the need to be a fortune teller, the fear vanishes, the pressure disappears. You are no longer fighting the market. You are just participating in a flow of probabilities. You pull the trigger, place your stop loss, and say, let's see if this one falls into the 60% win column or the 40% loss column. Either way, I'm fine. Chapter 5. The Execution Challenge. To cement this belief into your brain, I am issuing you a challenge for your next trading week. I want you to take a sticky note, write I do not need to know in massive letters, and tape it directly to the bottom of your monitor. For the next 5 trading days, your only goal is flawless execution. Your goal is not to make money. Your goal is not to pass a prop firm challenge. Your goal is to wait for your edge to appear, and the absolute second it does, you execute it without a single microsecond of hesitation. You set your stop loss, you set your take profit, and you take your hands off the mouse. If the trade loses, you look at the sticky note. I do not need to know. If the trade wins, you look at the sticky note. I do not need to know. You are going to systematically train your brain to separate the act of execution from the outcome of the trade. Once you experience the absolute mental peace of pulling the trigger without caring about the result, you will never go back to being a stressed-out retail gambler ever again. The 10% of traders who survive in this industry are not smarter than you. They don't have a magic indicator. They don't have a crystal ball. The only difference between the 10% and the 90% is their belief system. The 90% demand certainty from a random environment, and it destroys them. The 10% accept the randomness, execute their edge flawlessly, and let the math build their wealth. Stop trying to predict the future. Become the algorithm. If this masterclass finally unlocked the Mark Douglas mindset for you, hit that subscribe button.
Join our community. We don't predict, we react, we manage risk, and we execute. Leave a comment below right now. What is the biggest excuse your brain makes to justify hesitating on a perfect setup? Let's expose the mental blocks in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Stay disciplined.